Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Sam Morelos about That 90s Show, which is streaming now worldwide on Netflix. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Streaming now worldwide on Netflix. Can you believe the words that just came out of my mouth?
Literally, no. It's not real. It can't be. It's not real. What? People are watching it?
It's a weird feeling, though, right? You make this show. There's so much kind of magic in the air with like the set and, the cast, original cast. And now it's out of your hands. It's in the world's hands now. How's it been this day or two since it's been out?
Oh my gosh, it's been actually the most surreal, incredible feeling because it was this fun thing that I did over the summer and no one's gonna watch it. This is just for fun. It really felt like a summer camp because I was just doing the thing that I loved with people that I like being around, and it didn't feel like work. And now it's like seeing your baby or like seeing a baby bird finally fly out of the nest, and like now you're on your own.
Yeah. It's literally, absolutely. And it's really amazing. In terms of what you knew about the project, like I feel like it depends different projects, right? So like when you audition for this, how much do you know? Like, do you know it's that 90s show? Do you just know it's a Netflix sitcom? Like, how much did you know in your situation?
Well, I actually auditioned through the open call. I didn't have an agent or a manager. It was just like a sheet that was like, Netflix's That 90s Show talent search.
Yeah.
Submit an introduction video. So that sheet was literally all the only information that I had about That 90s Show. I was a That 70s Show fan because I was able to binge watch it over quarantine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just excited to be like, oh my gosh, this is a show that I really, really love. Doing a sequel. Sure, yeah, I'll audition. And things snowballed into this.
Absolutely. And it's interesting doing these interviews because like it's out. We don't want to go into big spoilers. I had a great time kind of, watching the trailer like one time and then just going in and watching it fresh, right? It was good and a lot of surprises. But I really like Nikki, your character Nikki, and her arc and a lot of the relationships she has with different characters. I think that's my favorite thing about this character. So basically, there's obviously, you do an amazing job with Maxwell A.C. Donovan, who plays Nate, the couple, but there's a little bit of like self-reflection, figuring things out. Like, are you going to be together forever or are you going to kind of go your separate ways? It gets pretty deep with that storyline, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it actually means the world to me that I get to portray her because Nikki is a very specific kind of teenage girl who knows that high school doesn't last forever and it's not endless thing that happens, and there's a future to be had and to be taken control of. And Nikki has these ambitions and these goals, and she's not willing to compromise them for anything.
No.
So, and I really, really admire that, and I look up to her in that way. So her being able to stand her ground and be like, hey, I really love you, but I'm not going to let that stand in the way of my goals. You can be along for the ride, but I'm still going to have a future. I find that really admirable.
And if you think about it, we don't want to go into big spoilers, but that whole thing you talked about just now, that is huge for the storyline.
Yeah, it is like pivotal.
It is like the most pivotal
because the way that Nikki expresses that affects Nate in some sort of way, and then the tensions are created.
Everyone. It affects Leia. It affects Jay. It affects everyone. It kind of like, it's like the top of the roller coaster, and then it just
it just plummets. It's crazy.
I love the scenes though with Nikki and Kitty, with Deborah Joe. Like, what was that like specifically? Because those are some of my favorite scenes when you're helping her with her resume. Like, I love those so much. What was that like doing those scenes with her?
God, just working with Deborah Joe is so rewarding because she is such a seasoned veteran actor and she knows so much and she knows about her character. And I came from a theater background and so did she. So we related to each other in that way. And I looked up to her and That way she was sort of a mentor for all of us, really,
Yeah.
because he's done this forever and she's very passionate about it. And finding that relationship between Kitty and Nikki was so fun because we got to play off of each other.
Yeah.
And Nikki is very mature for her age, so she is able to speak to adults and relate to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, very seamlessly and easily. And the way that Kitty kind of lets her in and lets her help her was really cool too.
It was really awesome. And it's interesting, you mentioned your theater background. That really is where you learn and fall in love with the craft of storytelling.
100%. Because you really get to immerse yourself completely in the world, because you have to memorize 2 hours of this story and you don't get a redo.
No.
It's all one, like it's one moving train, and if you jump on and you fall off, then you gotta run to get back on again.
Have you had a chance to work on a production where you did like the same production for like a couple of shows, like in a week? Like, have you done that, or was it just kind of one-offs?
I mostly did school productions, but we would have like a weekend. So
yeah, but the thing is, different audiences, different kind of reactions, right? Like,
exactly.
It's crazy, right?
Theater is insane and so rewarding in the way that it's new every single night. Like the audience, not only the audience is new, but your performance is completely changed because of the audience, because it's an energy trade-off.
Yep.
So you fall in love with that organic relationship that you have with the audience past the fourth wall, and you get to discover more about your character, because in the moment sometimes you feel something different.
Exactly.
And it's so exciting in that way. And this is my very first on-screen project. Yeah. So transitioning from theater, where you don't get any second chances, and then going into TV where it's like, okay, I can do another take to try and make the joke land even more, even better. It's like, and that build, it was really cool, and it's really exciting.
We'll get back to that 90s show, but very quickly too, like I didn't perform in my high school productions, but I was on stage crew, so I did like the follow spot operator, and I was the light operator. I will say, it's interesting. Is there not a rush? Not even like a couple hours before. Is there not like a day of energy and rush the day of a performance? Like you wake up, right? Like you wake up that morning and you're like, I'm performing in front of people tonight. Like,
it's so exhilarating.
Yes,
and it's because I go to school first, and then like the performances at night, but the entire day I'm like, when can I go on stage? It's time. It's nerve-wracking, but it's so exciting. Like there's this bubbling in your stomach, and you can't wait to have people see all the hard work that you did for the past month, 2 months, or whatever, however long the rehearsal process was.
Yeah.
And honestly, stage crew, we cannot live without them.
I know.
They are so pivotal.
We did like Princess and the Pea, and we made the whole like castle and like everything. It was crazy. Yeah. It was nuts.
Like set building.
Yeah.
And on that 90s show, our crew is just
can
phenomenal.
we give a shout out to That 90s Show crew? Shout out to the crew.
If I can give them like a 20-minute standing ovation, I would, because they're just so phenomenal, and every person in the crew is they're good people. Yeah, they're fun to talk to. Like I made friends with the set dresser Ryan and and Angie, the costumer, and like all of them. They're just, and Christian, the PA. We made a little family, and I also relied on them so much for support, because this is my first project. Yeah. So having that tight-knit group and having people to lean on and support you and be like, hey, it's okay that you're nervous. Hey, it's fine. Or like just crack jokes in between takes. Like with the PA, Christian, he had a handshake that all the kids had a handshake with him that would build every single live show. Yeah. And we'd do it, and it would ground me and ease all my nerves. So like a million props to That 90s Show crew. So great. So as Nikki, you're going back in time. You're going back to the 90s basically. Yeah. So I feel like there's so many kind of questions and thoughts in terms of
what it's gonna look like, what is it gonna feel like, how is like what like the fashion styles at the time, right? The hair, the music and everything. What are those first kind of conversations with like the showrunners about like what Nikki is gonna be into? What is she maybe gonna what kind of style of clothes is she gonna wear? Like I'm just curious about that because that's a big part of the show, right? Like getting back into the 90s.
Trying to step into Nikki took a lot of research. Like the way that I do character work is I journal about my character and I journal as my character. So I have like that 90s show moleskin, and I also made like little mood boards. I made a Pinterest board. I made a playlist of all the things that she would listen to, and like a little mood board of what she would wear. And actually Johnny and Melina, the costume designers for the show, they had a mood board of Nikki of like 17 magazine cutouts and pictures, those sorts of things. So she's got a little more of a trendy 17 magazine sort of style. And I wanted to I actually asked them if I can take that so I can put it in my journal. So, and the showrunners and the writers room actually came up with a little backstory for each of us to help us ease into the
character. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So they also gave us a list of music artists that our character would listen to. So I got Tori Amos, I got Ace of Base, I got Mariah Carey. Like she listens to all these things. So sometimes to get into character on my way to set, like on the car ride there, I'd play my playlist and I'd jam out with my mom, and she's all like, "I loved all these songs when I was a kid," and I was like, "Cool."
Who got like Green Day and Weezer? Like, did anyone get those bands?
Gwen, Ashley.
That's true.
She is punk to her core. She wears like this really killer dookie Green Day t-shirt.
I spoke to Ashley about that too. Yeah, a couple of days ago as well. Yeah, because it was funny because it was one of those situations where it's like, I just watched the show and then we were talking about it. I was like, Green Day is one of my favorite bands. She's like, yeah, I wear a Dookie shirt. I was like, yes, of course.
Yeah.
That's also a really cool, I'm telling you, Nikki, I want people to see this interview and then go back and watch and think about it. Nikki's arc and growth with a lot of these characters, a really cool episode with Gwen, which I love, right? You know, you're dating Gwen's brother, right? So there's kind of that back and forth, and I love that. And I saw there's, and people are going to be able to see that. That's really cool. But yeah, I think there's so many kind of things, and there's like so many love triangles and everything. And I'm sure online now, are you prepared for everyone like having theories and everything? Like it's going to get pretty crazy.
I'm actually so excited to hear all of the theories and all of their headcanons about everyone, because I don't know, because I don't know what's happening in the future, so I kind of want to see everyone's take on everything.
No, absolutely.
I had an idea of it, but everyone has their own interpretation, and they're entitled to it. So I'm so excited to see everyone's opinions on them.
Streaming now worldwide on Netflix. They can watch it right now. This is the plan, right? So here's what they're going to do. They're going to, because it dropped on Thursday, so by the time this interview is out, it's going to be the weekend. It's going to be out maybe like on Friday or Saturday, Sunday. They're going to watch this interview. And I would say they should put this interview on right before, like grab something to eat, watch this interview, and then go and binge that 90s show. Does that sound like a plan?
Oh, yeah. I think you should definitely do that.
Absolutely. Sam.
It's essential.
Yeah, it is essential.
It's essential.
We didn't go into that big spoilers, but I think we gave enough kind of info.
Yeah. No, this is a really great, like, ease into it. Like, hey, this is what the process was. Go watch it.
You learn so much. Like, you literally learned that Sheryl Crow isn't a real crow.
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew? I love that line.
That line is so good.
When I saw it at the table read, I like just reading it, I was laughing to myself.
I know, absolutely. No, it's so good. Oh, and also like, the video game fans will love the Donkey Kong references. I mean, there's so much. It's so good. I loved it. Sam, thank you for joining me on Popternative. This was so great chatting with you.
I'm so glad. It was great chatting with you.
Yeah, so all episodes are streaming now worldwide on Netflix. And your Instagram account is just your name, right? Sam Morelos?
It's Morelos_Sam.
Okay.
You just got.
But if they put Sam Morelos, they probably find it and everything. So
You'll find it. You'll
because I
find
bet
it.
there's a lot of behind the scenes that you're all kind of like finally getting out there now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have so many behind the scenes pictures that I was like dying to post right after we wrapped, and I'm so glad the world gets to see them now.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popturn for previous episodes. You can catch Sam Morelos as Nikki in That 90s Show, streaming worldwide now on Netflix. Until next time, this is Sam and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.